Welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Dan Fates joined alongside myself, Mike and Jenna, both having the day off right now, so it's just me here at training camp. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe as the Bills wrapped up another heated practice, to say the least, here at St. John Fisher University. Another day, another fight. Punches thrown again. This time, the first play of team drills. Stefon Diggs throwing punches at Gregory Rousseau. It seemed to calm down quickly. Diggs took offense to a swipe from Rousseau late after the play. Things seemed to calm down, and then they ramped right back up again where Ed Oliver had to be held back. So another day, another fight. We have seen a few of these. Josh Allen was asked about it, and he says, good teams fight. This is normal. And so I asked Von Miller about, do we in the media make a bigger deal out of these training camp fights? And Von was great as always, saying that, no, anytime Josh Allen is going to pick fights with Jordan Phillips and things like that, it's going to go viral, which it did, and it's all the talk. So that is part of it. Josh Allen also apologized, said he was in the wrong for the training camp scuffle last week where he went up and shoved Jordan Phillips. He said he got Jordan Phillips a box of Pro V1 golf balls because he felt bad. That's a leader. A couple other things that really stood out to me today. One-on-ones, cornerbacks and wide receivers took a lot of reps with pads. There were referees and officials here today, so it's kind of got that, there were flags being thrown. The Bills wide receivers looked really good, and Josh Allen looked really good. And I don't think that there was a single time where Josh Allen threw an incompletion on these one-on-ones. And I know that may not seem impressive to some people and around the league may go, oh, what's the big deal? I've covered this team for 7 years, and there was a time at St. John Fisher where the ball always hit the ground. It was a rarity if it was caught. So Josh Allen, he had a great ball to Isaiah McKenzie. He had a great ball to Khalil Shakir. Gabe Davis looked really quick off the line. He beat Saran Neal for one. He beat Kaiir Elam for another rep. He looked really good again. So the offense, when they're not having to face a pass rush, they've actually looked pretty solid. But again, this offensive line continues to be banged up. The only 2 out of the 5 starters were practicing again with Mitch Morse and Dion Dawkins. Spencer Brown is ramping up. Ryan Bates also participated to some level today, but he is not back yet. And Roger Saffold's still recovering for those ribs. So there's 3 players that are still out, and Ed Oliver continues to feast on that. He had another sack here at training camp, or what would have been a sack. He continues to look dominant. So those are some of the things that was a quick takeaway. Quietly, I know we've talked a lot about Isaiah McKenzie. Isaiah Hodgins has actually had a couple of nice days. He's made a couple of nice passes, nice catches. I don't think it's enough to crack the roster, but this is the best training camp that he has had so far. So I think that's a positive. A guy that we've talked about before on previous podcasts and post-practice recaps that I've been wanting to see more of. A.J. Epinesa is starting to show some flashes. Now again, where I'm talking about guys that are dominating on the defensive line, take it with a grain of salt because, again, of who they're going up against on the offensive line. But A.J. Epinesa has looked very impressive the last few days. And finishing up on just what I think about the offensive line, I was talking to another media member where I said, he made a good point, that if the Bills started week 1 or the regular season with this type of offensive line that they're currently having now, they are not a playoff team. It's that simple. Josh Allen and the offense just haven't really clicked so far at training camp besides 1 or 2 days. We've talked about before on podcasts that the defense has really dominated. So that is something to keep an eye on. You want to have continuity. That's a big thing you want to have. We haven't seen a whole lot of that at all with the offense. One final point. I've mentioned him a couple times. James Cook. I said he's looked different. He glides. He's very smooth. He took reps with the wide receivers today during individual drills. He's a guy I think they wanted to add, second-round pick, to add to the passing game. He was doing wide receiver drills alongside Isaiah McKenzie and Diggs and Davis, so that's something to keep an eye on for. Sean McDermott said that he has opened eyes in both the running game and the passing game, so it's something to keep an eye on there. So, again, if I had to do thumbs-ups for some players, again, another massive day for Ed Oliver, A.J. Epinesa, a good day, Isaiah Hodgins, a good day. And one last guy I think that's quietly doing really good things here at training camp so far is Dane Jackson. I know we've talked a lot about Kaiir Elam. We've talked about when Trey White will be back, but we haven't noticed really anything. We haven't noticed Dane Jackson, and that's a good thing. If you're a corner in training camp and we don't notice you, That is because you're not making mistakes. You're not getting beat. You're not getting burned. Dane Jackson has been really solid and steady. Again, we talk about how Kaiir is going up against Diggs or Davis. Well, Dane's going up against the opposite guy on all of those reps. So I think Dane has had a really strong camp. We also saw an update on Jordan Poyer. He was walking around with the Rob Gronkowski looking like elbow protector brace. So he looked okay, but Sean McDermott says he's still probably a few days away, probably closer to a week, but he said he wasn't overly concerned that Poyer would miss any regular season time. Training camp continues tomorrow up at the Blue and Red scrimmage at Highmark Stadium. We'll have more coverage from there, but be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Mike and Jenna, they'll be back with me soon, but I'm here with all of my friends and people that like my comments. Just me. Thanks for watching.